You're being sold the idea of a dream home? But what if that dream comes with taps that might run dry? Welcome to our road trip through some of America's ticking real estate time bombs. We've uncovered cities where water is vanishing faster than home equity is growing. But this isn't just about a brown lawn or a cracked foundation. It's a deeper, systemic crisis hidden right in your mortgage paperwork. Some of these markets are still booming, with developers selling million-dollar homes that are built on little more than rainwater and broken promises. The situation is so absurd it's almost impossible not to laugh or cry. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Not for us, but for your own protection. Think of it as a low-cost insurance policy against buying a house that could literally turn to dust. Stick with us as we uncover the 10 cities where water and your investment are disappearing fast. Number 10. Los Angeles, California. Our journey kicks off exactly where you'd expect, stuck in a bumper-to-bumper jam on the 405. You roll down the window, and the air hits you with a curious mix of ambition, exhaust, and something that smells like endless possibility. Outside, perfectly manicured lawns and sparkling swimming pools stretch as far as the eye can see, a defiant splash of green in the middle of a coastal desert. It's stunning and expensive. According to the latest Zillow data, the median home price here is flirting with the $1 million mark. At that price, you'd think water flowing freely from the tap would be guaranteed. But the reality? Not even close. LA's Department of Water and Power relies on three main sources: the local aqueduct, groundwater, and critically imported water from the Colorado River and the State Water Project. Those last two should set off alarm bells. The Colorado River is overallocated and shrinking, while the State Water Project depends on Sierra Nevada snowpack, a resource that has become wildly unreliable in recent years. And yet, officials continue to insist there's enough water for new homes. The disconnect from reality is almost staggering. Now here's where it really hits your wallet. The Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, the wholesaler that supplies LA, has already approved an 8.5% rate hike for 2025, with another 8.5% increase planned for 2026. On top of that, property tax assessments for water infrastructure are being doubled for the first time in more than 3 decades. This isn't speculation, it's already happening. So while the sticker price of a house grabs your attention, the growing cost of the water needed to actually live there barely gets mentioned. It's a slow-motion surcharge on simply surviving in paradise. The question is this sustainable, or just the hidden cost of life in the Golden State? Number 9. San Antonio, Texas. Heading east into the heart of Texas, the air grows thick with heat, history, and a sense of sprawling possibility. You arrive in San Antonio, a city that immediately feels one of a kind. The Alamo stands as a proud reminder of the past, while the famous Riverwalk winds gracefully through downtown, a beautifully engineered oasis that's both charming and historic. But beneath the surface, the city sits on a ticking time bomb. According to Redfin, the median home price here hovers around $300,000, making it an attractive destination for people fleeing pricier states. Yet that affordability comes with a hidden cost that no mortgage calculator will ever show you. Unlike Los Angeles with its complicated network of aqueducts, San Antonio relies almost entirely on a single source, the Edwards Aquifer. One massive underground limestone sponge provides water for over 2 million people. Here's the problem. San Antonio is growing faster than almost any other city in the nation. Developers are building thousands of new homes, often directly on top of the aquifer's environmentally sensitive recharge zones. Every new slab of concrete, every asphalt road, every subdivision blocks the very land that allows rainwater to seep back down and refill the city's only water supply. The water system here is in a constant tug-of-war with development, trying to balance explosive growth against basic hydrological reality. During frequent Texas droughts, aquifer levels plummet, triggering strict watering restrictions that turn neighbors against each other. In other words, buying a home in San Antonio means investing in a city that is actively, and enthusiastically, paving over its own lifeline. It's a textbook example of prioritizing short-term profits while risking a long-term disaster. The question remains, is unchecked growth really worth putting an entire city's water supply in jeopardy? Number 8. El Paso, Texas. Heading west across Texas, the terrain shifts, becoming stark, rugged, and breathtakingly beautiful. The Franklin Mountains cut sharply against the sky as you arrive in El Paso, a city that feels perched on the edge of the world. Life here is defined by the desert and a remarkable sense of resilience. El Paso actually stands out as a global leader in water conservation. For decades, the city has been preparing for this crisis through desalination, water reuse, and aggressive public education campaigns. The median home price sits just above $250,000, making it a relative bargain in today's real estate market. So, what's the catch? Even though they've done nearly everything right, it might still not be enough. The city's main surface water source, the Rio Grande, often resembles little more than a dry trench thanks to upstream overuse. This forces El Paso to rely heavily on underground aquifers, which are being depleted faster than nature can refill them. The city's ambitious solution is a massive, high-tech plant that turns treated wastewater into drinking water. It's an engineering marvel, but also extraordinarily expensive. The initial phase alone comes with a $100 million price tag, part of a larger multi-billion-dollar capital improvement plan spearheaded by El Paso Water. And who foots the bill? You do. Water rates have been steadily climbing and, according to local reports and utility projections, are expected to keep rising to fund these essential but wallet-draining projects. A recent study even warned that increasing utility costs could become a major financial burden for more than 40% of households in the area. This isn't just a story about taps running dry, it's about water becoming so costly that it creates a new form of unaffordability. You might be able to afford the mortgage, but can you keep up with the water bill that comes with it? At what point does the cost of water make a city unlivable, even when the taps are still flowing? Number 7. Salt Lake City, Utah. Heading north, you leave the desert behind and watch the Rocky Mountains rise dramatically from the plains. You arrive in Salt Lake City, a place of breathtaking and almost aggressively beautiful landscapes. The air is crisp, the streets are wide and immaculately clean, and the Wasatch Front towers over the valley like an imposing fortress wall. Everything here feels pristine, orderly, and prosperous. According to the latest Zillow data, the median home price hovers around $550,000. But buying a house here isn't just about owning property. It's a front-row seat to an ecological disaster unfolding in slow motion. Just a few miles away, the Great Salt Lake is steadily shrinking. For decades, huge amounts of water from the rivers that feed it have been diverted to support agriculture and development. As the lake recedes, it exposes a toxic lakebed filled with industrial runoff accumulated over decades: arsenic, mercury, and lead. When the wind blows, that poisonous dust can spread straight into the air around your expensive new home. And it gets worse. The Great Salt Lake plays a critical role in creating a lake effect, a weather phenomenon that significantly boosts snowpack in the surrounding mountains. That snowpack is the primary source of drinking water for the entire valley. A dying lake means less snow, and less snow means less water coming out of your tap. Imagine holding a 30-year mortgage in a city where the choice between breathable air and drinkable water might become a grim reality. It's a catch-22, and home prices remain high because the view is stunning. So, what's the bigger threat to property values here? The toxic dust drifting through your neighborhood, or the shrinking water supply that keeps your taps running? Number 6. San Diego, California. Heading back to the coast, you cruise down a sun-drenched highway until you reach what many call America's finest city. San Diego greets you with undeniable beauty. 70 degrees and sunny feels like the default setting. The beaches are legendary, the lifestyle relaxed, and the vibe is pure California dream. Naturally, people are willing to pay a premium for it. According to Redfin, the median home price hovers just under $1 million. But buying here isn't just buying a house. You're essentially subscribing to a very, very long hose. Here's the harsh reality that hides behind the sunshine. San Diego imports between 85 and 90% of its water. That's right. Almost all the water for its 3 million residents travels hundreds of miles, mostly from the same shrinking sources we've already mentioned, the Colorado River and the State Water Project. The city is literally at the end of the pipeline. Any shortage upstream in Arizona or Northern California hits San Diego first and leaves it last in line for a drink. To manage this vulnerability, the San Diego County Water Authority built the largest desalination plant in the Western Hemisphere, a technological marvel that turns ocean water into drinking water. But it comes at a steep price. Operating costs are enormous, and those costs are passed straight to homeowners. San Diego already has some of the highest water bills in the country, and as traditional sources continue to dry up, dependence on that expensive desalinated water will only grow. People often joke about the sunshine tax here, but the real tax is the water bill, a mandatory, ever-increasing charge just to enjoy life in this gorgeous desert city. When your water bill starts looking like a second mortgage payment, the question becomes, is that perfect weather really worth it? Number 5. Cape Coral, Florida. You cross the country, trading the dry, rugged heat of the West for the thick, sticky humidity of Southwest Florida. Rolling into Cape Coral, it looks at first like a suburban paradise laid out on a neat grid. But then it hits you. The streets are lined with water. With over 400 miles of canals, more than any other city on Earth, this place was marketed as a boater's dream, a waterfront home for the everyman. According to Zillow, the median home price sits around $400,000. Sounds like a steal for a house on the water, right? Think again. That water is exactly the problem. Cape Coral relies on a shallow underground aquifer for its fresh water, while the canals are connected to the Gulf of Mexico. Over decades, as the city pumped more and more water to fuel rapid growth, it created a vacuum underground. Denser salt water from the Gulf is now creeping into the aquifer, contaminating the city's drinking supply. This isn't some distant future threat. It's happening right now. A slow-motion disaster built by the city itself. The only fix is a massive, multi-million-dollar expansion of the city's reverse osmosis plants, complex, energy-hungry facilities that essentially power wash the salt out of the water. And who foots the bill? Residents do, through skyrocketing water rates and special assessments that are already hitting people's wallets. You bought a house on a canal for the view, and now you're paying a premium just to make the water under your own house drinkable again. The very feature that made the city appealing has become its biggest liability. If you think this is a scary financial story, hold tight. We're about to move into parts of the country where the water crisis is so severe that officials are actually starting to ban new home construction. The worst is still ahead. Number 4. Las Vegas, Nevada. You leave the steamy humidity of Florida behind and dive straight into the heart of the Mojave Desert. After hours of endless, barren landscape, the skyline finally rises out of the haze, a glittering, defiant monument to human ambition in the middle of nowhere. This is Las Vegas, a city built on spectacle, risk, and seemingly impossible odds. According to Redfin, the median home price sits in the mid-$400,000, a tempting prospect for anyone priced out of California. But buying here isn't just buying a home, it's a bet against the laws of physics. About 90% of southern Nevada's water comes from one single source, the Colorado River, stored in Lake Mead. You've seen the pictures, the stark white bathtub ring on the canyon walls, a chilling reminder of how dramatically water levels have dropped over the last 20 years. To be fair, nobody conserves water better than Las Vegas. They have water cops. They literally pay you to tear out your lawn. They recycle 99% of indoor water. It's a world-class system. And that's exactly what makes the situation terrifying. This is a city operating at maximum efficiency, with zero margin for error. Meanwhile, homeowners are scolded for leaky sprinkler heads, while the city continues to welcome 40 million tourists each year and approve new housing developments. It's a paradox baked into the city's DNA. Extreme conservation for residents, extreme consumption for the economy. You're buying into a system that has mastered crisis management but hasn't solved the underlying problem. There simply isn't enough water to support it all. So, is Las Vegas a shining example of genius innovation in water management, or the highest stakes gamble in the entire country? Number 3. Scottsdale, Arizona. Heading southeast, you cross into Arizona, and the desert transforms. The raw, rugged landscape gives way to something carefully curated, almost artificial. Rolling into Scottsdale, it feels less like a city and more like an endless luxury resort. Lawns are perfectly manicured, golf courses glow emerald green, and the air is thick with the scent of wealth. This is desert luxury at its peak, with Zillow reporting a median home price of around $800,000. But beneath all that polished perfection lies a harsh reality: survival of the fittest. For years, Scottsdale sold surplus water from its Colorado River allocation to the nearby unincorporated community of Rio Verde foothills. Residents there depended on that water. Then, on January 1st, 2023, Scottsdale abruptly turned off the tap. Citing unprecedented drought and dwindling supplies, the city cut off its neighbors, leaving hundreds of homeowners scrambling for costly trucked water. This wasn't a warning or a forecast. It was the first real shot in what some are calling the water wars. A wealthy enclave pulled up the drawbridge. While the city pushes conservation for its own residents, it made a calculated choice. When scarcity hits, Scottsdale protects itself first, and everyone else is left to fend for themselves. So when you buy a home here, you're not just investing in luxury. You're buying a spot on a lifeboat that has already proven it's willing to toss people overboard to stay afloat. Is this a harsh but necessary act of self-preservation? Or a moral failure that signals a chilling future for the entire region? Number 2. Phoenix, Arizona. Just a 20-minute drive from Scottsdale's luxury bubble, and the landscape and reality changes completely. This is Phoenix, the beating heart of the Valley of the Sun. A sprawling metropolis of nearly 5 million people, it has been the poster child for rapid American growth for decades. According to Redfin, the median home price sits just under $500,000. For years, the sales pitch was simple: move here, get an affordable house, and enjoy the sun-soaked life. That pitch? Dead. This isn't speculation, it's reality. In 2023, the Arizona Department of Water Resources made a shocking announcement. It would stop issuing new permits for developments in the Phoenix area that rely solely on groundwater. Why? After years of modeling, they concluded there isn't a guaranteed 100-year water supply to support new growth. Let that sink in. The state government itself looked at the numbers and admitted the traditional growth model is a fantasy. The projected shortfall? A staggering 4.86 million acre-feet of water over the next century. A number so massive it almost defies comprehension. This is the ultimate red flag. A government agency, not an environmental advocacy group, is officially declaring the emperor has no clothes. You're looking at a city where current homes have water, but the promise of future development, the very thing that keeps property values propped up, has just been undermined. You could buy a house today, only to find that the planned neighborhood next door never materializes because the water simply doesn't exist on paper. Is this the moment the Phoenix growth engine finally stalls? Or will engineers and policymakers find some technological workaround to keep the music playing a little longer? Number 1. Buckeye, Arizona. This is it, the end of the road. Leaving Phoenix behind, past the final suburbs, you enter the vast, sun-scorched emptiness of the West Valley. Welcome to Buckeye, Arizona. The final stop, the grand punchline, and arguably the most absurdly risky place to buy a home in America right now. Here, the fantasy of endless growth meets a wall of dry, unforgiving dirt. For years, Buckeye has been one of the fastest-growing cities in the nation, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. Its population boomed on one simple promise: cheap land and brand-new homes. That promise? Legally, it's now a lie. Zillow reports the median home price at just over $400,000, a seemingly perfect entry point for first-time buyers. You might picture buying a starter home in a brand-new community, surrounded by empty lots destined for parks, schools, and more houses that will push your property values up. But here's the catch: those developments probably won't happen. Following the same Arizona Department of Water Resources ruling that hit Phoenix, Buckeye's future growth has been wiped off the map. The city's master plan projected a population of over 1 million people, with hundreds of thousands of homes already approved. But almost all of that relied on groundwater that the state now says simply doesn't exist. This isn't a temporary water shortage. It's a business model declared legally unsustainable. Current homes remain safe for now, but their value is built on a future that's been officially canceled. You're not just buying a home, you're buying a ticket on the Titanic after it's already hit the iceberg. You're paying $400,000 for a house in a half-finished development that may never be completed, propped up by an economy betting on homes with water that isn't there. It's the clearest, most terrifying example of a real estate time bomb in the country. So, how do you even begin to assign value to a home in a city that has officially run out of a future? And there you have it. 10 cities, 10 different ways to sell a dream home on the edge of a man-made drought. We've seen communities pave over their only water sources, cut off their neighbors in times of crisis, and sell houses where the state itself says growth is impossible. This isn't just a problem for the Sun Belt, it's a warning. The real cost of a home isn't the price on the sign, it's in the water bill. So, is this a localized crisis, or is America's housing market built on a foundation of sand? Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to uncover more uncomfortable truths.